Everyone thought Theranos was the future of medicine. They were profoundly mistaken. The year was 2014. Elizabeth Holmes, a Stanford dropout, stood at the helm of Theranos, a company valued at an astonishing $9 billion. Her promise, a revolutionary device, the Edison, capable of running hundreds of medical tests from a single drop of blood. This wasn't just another tech startup. It was poised to disrupt an entire industry, making healthcare cheaper, faster, and more accessible. Holmes, often compared to Steve Jobs, cultivated an aura of visionary genius, captivating investors, politicians, and the media alike. But beneath the surface of slick presentations and glowing magazine covers, a rot was festering. The Edison device, the very core of Theranos' supposed innovation, barely functioned. It was a house of cards built on ambition, deception, and a fundamental disregard for scientific integrity. How did a company with such a flawed product manage to raise so much capital and garner such widespread acclaim? The answer lies in a cocktail of Silicon Valley's unique brand of hype, the allure of a charismatic founder, and a deeply flawed system of due diligence. Holmes dropped out of Stanford in 2003, aged 19, with a vision to revolutionize blood testing. She founded Real-Time Cures, later renamed Theranos, and began pitching her idea, miniaturized, automated blood analysis that would bypass traditional labs. Her initial pitch deck lacked scientific specifics, yet it resonated with powerful figures. Her ability to articulate a grand vision, combined with her unconventional deep voice and intense stare, made her an almost hypnotic figure. Among her earliest and most significant backers was Donald Lucas, a venture capitalist who invested millions. Soon after, Holmes brought in Channing Robertson, a retired Army general, to her board, lending an air of gravitas. The true breakthrough, however, came with George Shultz, former Secretary of State. Shultz's endorsement, despite his lack of scientific background, opened doors to an unprecedented network of powerful political and business figures. The Theranos board eventually included former Secretaries of State Henry Kissinger and James Mattis, and Senator Bill Frist, an astonishing collection of political heavyweights, none of whom possessed medical or scientific expertise. This pattern surrounding herself with influential but scientifically naive figures became a hallmark of Holmes's strategy. It created an impenetrable shield of credibility, diverting scrutiny from the actual technology. By 2013, Theranos had signed a deal with Walgreens, promising to place wellness centers in their stores, offering rapid, low-cost blood tests. This was a massive public endorsement, suggesting the technology was fully validated. But behind closed doors, employees knew the truth. The Edison machine, designed to run hundreds of tests, could barely perform a handful, often inaccurately. Most tests were secretly run on modified commercial lab equipment, not Theranos' own. Former employees, like Erica Chung and Tyler Schultz, George Shultz's grandson, raised concerns about the faulty technology and the pressure to produce misleading results. Their warnings were met with hostility and legal threats. The company's culture was one of extreme secrecy and paranoia. Holmes and her second-in-command, Ramesh Sunny Balwani, maintained tight control, monitoring employees and squashing any dissent. The unraveling began in earnest in 2015 when John Carreyrou, a reporter for the Wall Street Journal, started investigating. He received a tip from a pathologist, sparking a relentless pursuit of the truth. Carreyrou's articles, published in October 2015, exposed the core deception. Theranos was using traditional blood analysis machines for most tests, and their Edison device was unreliable and inaccurate. The revelations sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley and the medical community. The SEC and federal prosecutors launched investigations. The carefully constructed facade of Theranos began to crumble rapidly. Walgreens ended its partnership. Investors, who had poured hundreds of millions into the company, watched their fortunes vanish. The $9 billion valuation evaporated into thin air. In 2018, Elizabeth Holmes and Sunny Balwani were indicted on 9 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The charges alleged they had knowingly defrauded investors and patients. Holmes's trial began in 2021, a protracted affair that captivated the nation. She took the stand, attempting to shift blame to Balwani, but the evidence mounted against her. In January 2022, a jury found Elizabeth Holmes guilty on 4 counts of defrauding investors. She was later sentenced to 11 years and 3 months in prison. Balwani received an even longer sentence. The Theranos saga serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition, the seductive power of a compelling narrative, and the critical importance of scientific rigor and ethical conduct, even in the fast-paced world of tech innovation. It exposed how easily powerful individuals can be swayed by charisma over data, and how a culture of secrecy can hide catastrophic failures, ultimately putting public health at risk. Theranos wasn't just a business failure, it was a profound betrayal of trust, a cautionary tale etched into the dark side of Silicon Valley's history, forever changing how we perceive the next disruptive startup. To understand the next tech fraud before it goes mainstream, subscribe and watch our next deep dive.